Mid. If I had to pick one word to describe FLCL Grunge, it would be mid. And I need everyone to realize that this show is... How do I even describe this, man? It's soulless. It feels like it's just running through the motions. That's the best way. Like, this show, FLCL Grunge, is just the latest in a bad trend of unnecessary FLCL sequels. We already suffered through FLCL Alternative and whatever boring plot that had. And it's just these shows, they meander, they take too long, they act like Haruko is some sort of like Avengers level cameo. Like, they just are playing up Haruko. Like, even the main show didn't jack off Haruko as much as these sequel anime do, pretending like she's like the fucking Nick Fury of the FLCL universe. We really just need to get into this episode, because I'm not happy. I'm less than impressed here on Exhausted Reviews, when I'm exhausted and I make reviews. And I mean, I think the best way to really go through this episode is to compare it to the very first episode of Fooly Cooly. So we're gonna, like, I feel like we should just go scene by scene. Do you guys want to do that? Because the intro for this episode is our boy Shin, who, can I just say, Shin, our main character right here, is just, this little kid is just a wet blanket of a character. He has no personality outside of being a meek little boy, and we get introduced to this dude right here with the fat lips, and this is like my least favorite character in this episode. I get that he's supposed to be ugly, but the animation here is just, I really am not a fan of this animation studio. I believe it's called Studio Mont Blanc, and this is their first anime they've ever done. Why would they give it Fooly Cooly as a... This reeks of like Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Like, that is clearly Haruko, and they're really trying to go for some like, oh, we get some mixed media 2D stuff in here. But honestly, the 3D in the original series looks better than the 3D in this. I mean, that's not to say that the background's probably the best parts of this show, but the animations here, and also the character design, dude, look at these character designs. You can just, like, the character designs tell you everything you need to know about this show. They are trying too hard. We have normal simpy boy here, late epic, magical, mysterious, pink-haired girl in the back, and fucking rock dude, right? Let's cut. And this is like the first 2 minutes. We get introduced to this little classroom and his boring life and his simpy, wet blanket personality. Cut to the beautiful introduction in Fooly Cooly. We spent some time with Mamimi, one of the main players, and her talking, and Mamimi and Naota are talking about his brother. I'm gonna switch this over to the sub just so we have captions. But they're talking about his brother, and they're having, the conversation seems trivial at first, but it really shows a lot about these characters. There's a lot of layer and depth to this. Naoto's personality. He's a little bit of a snot-nosed brat. He's kind of a rude kid, and I don't even want to say he means well, because he's just kind of ignorant to the world. He's telling her that, you know, she's here swinging this bat. He's like, bro, your hands are upside down. Like, you're clearly just like, you're clearly just messing around. She's like, they're actually having a genuine conversation about her saying, I haven't smoking, him being like, hey, like, why are you always like leaning up against me? She's like, because if I don't, I'll explode. And he's like, you know, and they're clearly talking about, he's setting up that like nothing bad ever happens. So we already get an idea of what kind of character Naoto is, and even though he may seem like he's a bit like rough on the edges, he still lets Mamimi like hold on to him and kind of like take him down, so he's not like pushing her off. So clearly he's just putting up a front, and you can really just tell that he acts like a kid, you know, and he has a really good foil against Mamimi, who is clearly clingy, and he's kind of just going along with it, and he might not like it, but he doesn't really have like the heart to get fully like physically like, get away from me, I don't want you here. And this is just in the first 2 minutes. So already we have a lot more going on here. Besides, literally the first 2 minutes of this is, I'm sad, Haruko is hot, awooga, like bro, in no episode of Fooly Cooly is why is everyone simping? The same thing happened in Alternative too. Everyone just immediately starts simping over Haruko. when like this is her first introduction to the series, like it's people simping over her, and it just sets up like they're really just going through the motions of like it's so meta that it just doesn't even work anymore. Because in real life, yeah, of course everyone thinks Haruko is hot, but when Haruko gets introduced in the original show, this is how she gets introduced. She's not hot. She's not seducing someone or being very clearly, obviously manipulative and you're using someone. It's literally just her first introduction is literally hitting my man on a moped and just like literally like rolling around on the ground, being just like, bro, she literally thinks she kills him, and like there is no like mysterious, ooh, who is this mysterious woman who's super hot? No, it's just like it is played completely straight, and this show is like it's almost taking itself too seriously as like a sequel to Fooly Cooly. They have this thing which is like it's just like it's just trying too hard. The fact that they have like the gang written on their face, and it's really just playing it's like the NPC mentality that the show is kind of like. I think the show is trying to just say that these guys are NPCs, but it doesn't work, and it just comes off as lazy. Like the animators were too lazy to even like make faces for these guys, so they just gave them all the same model. Even like the main characters in the show, like there's literally only 3 kids, and I get that plays into the setting. But if we go to if we look at the classrooms, like this is the cast in his school. Characters with actual designs. This guy's wearing a sport jacket. This guy in the background that's kind of a snooty guy with big lips. He's got a vest on. Like these characters designs don't scream, ooh, we're so cool, fooly cooly anime. We got a weird anime girl with wacky bright colored hair. Like that was the beauty and it's the simplicity of Fooly Cooly, and just the way that people kind of just like roll with things. But like in this world, like look at the fish they're serving. Sorry, wrong page. Look at the fish they're serving. Look at the fish they're serving. Like, what is this? It's just like trying to be weird for no reason. Like, I get the original was weird, but in every single aspect, they're like, how can we make this as weird and wacky and crazy as possible? Like, look at this dude. Look at this guy's character design. Like, this is so dumb. It really just seems like Adult Swim sat down and was like, we want to make a weird and wacky, crazy third season to Fooly Cooly. Because the first 2 were so well received. I know this sounds like I'm complaining, but it genuinely is just like, can y'all just like make something else? And I know some people might even try to say that, ooh, well, Trigun Stampede had CGI, but like, if you look at Trigun's anime and you actually look at this, like, Trigun was actually trying to do impressive things, and this is just substandard for, even if this was 2D, it would be lackluster. And the fact that there's like giving Haruko all this like why are we glued to her ass in this, like, and I get that like this show was about like, oh, it's about the struggles of trying to be a teenager, but like the way they do that is by actually showing him being a teenager and not having him be horny for some random girl. Like the show, after we get to this initial incident, which also has a hilarious joke of they did a slow-mo scene here, and look at this. Look, I don't know if this is actual 3D animation or if this is just them drawing it, but it's like this animation right here genuinely looks better than some of the quote-unquote impressive shots that they're trying to show off here. And like it really is just like this doesn't look good to me. These literally just, I look at these characters and I just see 3D models. Like the rigging is bad. They blend well together with the world, but the animation is just not there. It literally just looks like babies first. Like I've seen YouTube animations of T-Rexes fighting with swords that have better animation quality than this. Shout out to that guy. But all in all, it's just not a good look. And even throughout this, like, we're not getting like, ooh, Haruko's so hot and sexy. Look at her. Ooh, she's so hot and sexy. Like, now, I mean, in a way, the Kanti horn is kind of a boner metaphor, but they really just play this up here. And it's literally just Fooly Cooly without the edge. Like, the original was kind of edgy in a sense that, like, it wasn't hand-holdy. It didn't feel like it needed to explain everything to you. It kind of just, like, went at its own pace. It did what it wanted to do. And it even had, like, some kind of like, intense moments. Like, this manga scene right here always gets me because, like, some people would look at it like, oh, it's low effort. Like some people could say that this is low effort, but I clearly see it as, like, a stylistic choice, right? Meanwhile, a scene that I would say comes close to this is this scene of Haruko talking to these girls, and they're literally not even animated. They're 2D cutouts. This scene is barely even animated. Like, this actually comes off as cheap because you've got a 3D anime, but the background characters are 2D. They don't even have lip flaps. They're not even talking. Haruko is the only person animated, and even in that shot, it was just like stills. Meanwhile, even in the manga section, you have like actual animation, and it might not be like massive or anything, but it still shows that like this is just a stylistic choice. And most of the hand motions, honestly, in this scene goes on for a few minutes, but most of the animations in this scene are literally just hand movements. It's literally just hand movement, and it's just to play up the fun and the accentuation of this crazy like random scene, and it's just, I don't know. The shows just like aren't doing it for me. It is literally like we get this guy to show up. It's literally just member berries. It's literally just fooly cooly without any of the substance. I don't get any substance here. I don't know why they're introducing Eyebrow Guy. This did not do anything with him. This is probably the most impactful scene in this episode. Was him saying, "My brother grew up here. He's an alcoholic. When I grow up, I'm gonna be an alcoholic." That was probably the most I got out of this show. Meanwhile, we have an entire series that we have like a little mini depression arc in the beginning that wrapped itself up nicely at the end. We get Haruko and his dad, like, and his whole family bringing this people in, and their arc is like, we clearly see the dad is just like not okay. That is not okay here. And we even Mamimi has an entire little sub arc about like learning about her ex-boyfriends, I guess, Naruto's brother's American girlfriend. And even like Naruto has his own mini character arc. At the end of the episode, you know, at the beginning he's like, "I don't like sour drinks." She makes him buy a drink. "I don't like sour drinks." He doesn't drink the drink, and he's like, "Bro, you wasted my money." Right? I feel like that's somewhere around this year. We're not gonna. But at the end of the episode, you know, he takes that swig. He's like, "I told you I don't like sour stuff," and he takes that swig at the end anyways. And it really shows like this first episode had like an actual, because it was the original season, it wasn't supposed to do anything. There is no point of reference to it, so they can't just dangle Haruko in front of you, give you some Haruko thirst traps, bring in Kanti for no reason, have him talking, and then like they're feeding him sushi. Haruko slips in, like, he clearly watches Haruko slip in a sushi shaped USB drive. Somehow the dad picks up a little USB drive, supposed to be the greatest sushi chef in town, doesn't even notice that he's literally feeding the guy a USB drive, and it fries his circuits. And it's all just like, it just doesn't, it's just like, it's just running through the motions. It's just running through the motions. Kanji's first appearance it's literally a part of Haruko's scheme. And yes, Haruko was scheming in the beginning, but they tried to keep it under wraps, right? They didn't make it obvious that Haruko was scheming. And they even had Haruko, like, she's literally on the phone with someone, like, while he's taking a bath, literally talking about how, like, yeah, no, this kid's a piece of crap. The channel isn't perfect, you know, I'm trying, but then, like, she immediately hangs up the call when Naruto walks in. He's like, oh, not talking to anyone anymore. She's clearly scheming if you pay close attention to it. And even this scene right here too, it honestly gets kind of intense. Like, they actually pull back a little bit and get, like, this is honestly kind of like a serious moment. It's actually allowed to breathe and be serious, and like Naruto again showing off he's a multifaceted character, you know? He gets embarrassed, he gets angry, he's like, and he's kind of right too. During a lot of this episode, he's kind of right. Like, this girl shouldn't be in his room. I mean, he shouldn't be making these advances on him. The kid should be just like, you know, chilling and leaving him alone. Like, he's like a fully fleshed out character. And this Shin character, bro, he's literally a wet blanket. He simps for Naruto this whole time. Doesn't like say it, doesn't like assert himself when he sees something weird going on. And then at the end of the episode, he literally like, "Oh, Haruko, I'll save you. Stand back, I have a horn in my head." Bro, and it's just like, and he's like, "We gotta get you out of here on this shuttle." And like, this fight scene is so dumb. Like, and they don't even animate the fight scene properly. This is the fight scene that episode 1 ends on. This is the animation we're watching. It's slideshows of people getting shot. There was one cool scene, there's one like scene with decent animation where Haruko, like, bro, like, This is like probably the most decent cut in this episode. Of course, they get the boob physics. This right here, like it's that's also how hilarious is that face. Like it's not like bad, but it's just mid. It's just mid. That's the best way I can describe this scene. And this fight scene also lasts like 5 minutes. They fight in the restaurant. Bro is like, now go leave, and she's like, I'm gonna give the tickets out. They have this really cringy joke of her being like, oh, so that's thumbnail. God damn. It is really cringy joke. It's like they try to be self-referential by admitting that it's cringe, but it's cringe. If they take pride, if there was a Guinness World Record, like it's just bad, man. And it's just they can't even like they take Kon Ming, which I didn't even realize this until I look at the sub. Tell us some creeper because that's supposed to be American jokes, and use Kon Ming's cringe man astrology. Now, Kon Ming, I don't know if you guys remember the show Your Boy Kon Ming, but he was a Japanese philosopher, or a Chinese philosopher, and very big in the Four Kingdoms. And somehow they translate American and Kon Ming to Me Too, the fucking sexual harassment movement, and egotistical lamesplaining. Like, I feel like this is just like a total voice act, like a circle jerk for the voice actress for Haruko. I feel like she's been the entire person who's responsible for all of the fucking circle jerks around Haruko and just the animes in general, because I feel like this is the only role she gets, and it's just like so dumb. And she's talking about like how dubs suck, and the only people who laugh at this are native speakers. But when this episode first aired, it was in dub, and it's just like, it is so cringe. The show is trying to be, wow, we are super edgy and cool, but it just comes off as like cringe and not based. And it's trying too hard to recapture the original tone. Let's go into the last the last fight scene isn't even 5 minutes, but we do get some emotional payoff. We get like, this is probably the closest thing that we have to the scene that I liked in Grunge, which the show isn't even grungy, if I may say so myself. That show is so milquetoast. Like, this is the closest scene. Is we find about Mamimi is poor, and Naoto's dad basically explained it earlier on in the episode. But Mamimi asks for all the leftover bread. She can't afford her own like bread, and she can only eat hard bread, stale and hard bread. And he's like, and so we get like genuine heart-to-heart conversations with them that give us insight into the characters. And I feel like, and even like the characters are more well established than the little random girl whose name I don't know, and a fucking rock guy who they're just not gonna explain because uwu, we're so quirky and cool, but please let it die. And meanwhile, like you guys remember, this is the end fight scene, right? Also, this dude comes up out of nowhere and literally starts killing people, like actual like kill. There's like an actual gang war. And like, I know it's like, oh, well, the first fooly had scenes like this that weren't bad animated, so why are you guys complaining about this one? But like, this is the end of the episode. Absolutely makes no sense. The initial fooly, at least on rewatch, makes sense, but this is actually just like filming garbage at the screen. You can watch the original fooly, and you can watch season 1 and not feel like you're missing anything. I feel like I am missing so much stuff, and they're dropping atomsk. Like, it's literally, like, they're literally just trying so hard to, it's like, oh, you guys remember the first fooly, right? Well, we're gonna take everything that you like in fooly and make it fooly. Oh, fooly, and so fooly. We are fooly, not cooly. It's fooly, not fooly, not, like, it's so stupid. And, like, meanwhile, the original episode that drew me into the show ends with, so the guy's horn on his head, Naoto's horn actually manifests into a fucking robot that's like literally climbing out of his head. Absolutely insane. Like, and we get some supreme anime cuts. Like, the animation here is genuinely like still holds up to this very day. The animation here looks good. Like, they didn't even have any like cheap outs with the animation. Like, bro, let's go back to this fight scene. Like, this whole gang shootout scene. This is the gang shootout. She just pulls out a gun. And they're like, oh yeah, guys, we are really proud of this. Can we get some applause, please? We are really proud of this scene. This is really carrying on the legacy of Fooly Cooly. Meanwhile, in Fooly Cooly, we have animation cuts like this. Look at this animation, dog. We got a full tracking shot Like, and it's amazing. It looks great. It's actually like good animation. What is going on? Y'all went to 3D, and it looks worse than the shit that came out in like 2003. This show is worse. The grunge is worse paced than the show that came out in 2003. It's less intriguing than the show that came out in 2003. Literally, the intrigue in this episode is seeing the guy get hit by a vespa and grow a horn. And you can only do that so many times. I feel like they did that in the FLCL Alternative too, and now they're doing it again on this show. And it's like, guys, please, just stop. He's already dead. I didn't even ask for likes during this video because I am just so done with this video. With them trying to milk FLCL. Guys, that's why I'm asking you guys right now, can we get 2,000 likes on this video to stop the FLCL murder? It's time to stop. Where are your parents? I'm calling Child Protective Services because you guys have gone too far with FLCL. This is not FLCL. This is a cheap, hollow imitation of FLCL masquerading as an edgy and grungy show. But you know what is actually edgy? You know what is grungy? You know what is real pop punk alternative? We don't give a fuck what you think. Being original. Not trying to retread the same. How are you gonna retread the show that defies animation and defies expectation? How are you gonna make 4 actually, because there's grunge and shoegaze? How are you gonna make 4 sequels to the show that's all about defying expectations and subverting? Like, how are you gonna make 4 sequels to that and all have Haruko in it, basically the main character, and every single character is like, oh my god, Haruko's so hot and sexy. Like, bro, like they literally did a scene in the first episode in Shoegaze. You guys remember the scene in Shoegaze where they're literally cheering for Haruko? Like, yay, Haruko's back, woohoo! Like, guys, like how they want us to react. This is how they want us to, like, why are they? It's so trying so hard to be so self-inserting. Like, this main character has nothing going on for him except that he has a dad and his town is boring. Meanwhile, like, Naoto in the original has Mamimi, who is heavily impressioning on him. What is that called? Imprinting on him. Mamimi is heavily imprinting on him now that his brother is in America. Also, his brother is in America, which gives him kind of a complex. That's a very dynamic relationship between him and Mamimi, and it kind of strangely with his father, because now his father is the only person he has in his life. And his grandpa, but like, you know, it causes friction between them when Haruko shows up, starts staying with him after having already attacked him. He's got friends at school who are like actively interested in him, and he's like he gives them like witty banter, and there's no like dumb weird mystery guides and shit. And it's just, maybe I'm being too hard on the show, but honestly, I don't care. I don't care. You know, FLCL has, to me, has always been just about reveling and embracing the weirdness and becoming your own person. You know, Naoto is trying to get out of his brother's shadow because of Mamimi, because of, you know, the expectations around him, and he's trying, you know, it really sums it up at the end too, about how in the beginning, he's trying to teach Mamimi how to swing a baseball bat because his brother taught him how to swing a baseball bat. And at the end of the episode, during the fight, when Haruko pulls up and hits Kanti swinging her guitar like a baseball bat, you know, and they keep showing baseball bats in this episode too. There's a very clear line of themes throughout the episode of baseball. And this, I guess the biggest theme you could give this is sushi, maybe. But even then, the sushi is used as a mean to fuck with Kanti. And like, I don't know, man. It's just like this, like, ooh, cool symbol. You guys remember the symbol from the first FLCL? Wow, another cool symbol. Oh my god, wow, it's so cool. I actually remember seeing that in the first FLCL. It's just like, guys, come on. Even the Science Gate music can't save you from this, you know? And this isn't even like a full scene-by-scene breakdown. This is just like the themes and stuff. So like, I don't know. I need this video to get at least 2,000 likes to do a video on the next episode, because I genuinely just had a distaste for this episode. I watched it with my eyes in the back of my skull just because they're trying so hard. That's why this show is mid, because they're trying too hard and they are failing, and it really just shows. So let me know what you guys think about this show in the comments down below. Am I being too harsh? Is this show actually secretly a masterpiece? Did you guys really love the first episode? Was it better than the original? I want to know everybody's thoughts in the comments down below. And leave a like if you guys like this video, because, oh man, this took a lot out of me. So I will hope you guys have a beautiful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!